When my cousin General Nathan was serving overseas, our power-hungry HOA president seized the chance to bulldoze his historic family home, but she never expected him to return early with a U.S. senator on speed dial. Would you believe that her simple property violation landed half the HOA board in federal court and turned our quiet suburb into a national scandal about veteran rights? Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe if you want more Karen and HOA stories. I'll never forget that morning I caught Vivian Holt taking pictures of my cousin's house. She didn't even try to hide it, just stood there in her designer workout clothes, her perfectly manicured nails tapping away at her phone screen. I stepped out from my kitchen, coffee still steaming in my hand, and marched toward her. I've been watching her circle Nathan's colonial house like a vulture for the past 15 minutes, her blonde ponytail bouncing with every step. "Excuse me, Vivian, but what exactly are you doing?" I asked, keeping my tone, even despite the heat rising in my chest. Her fake smile could have cracked glass. "Oh, good morning, Matt," she chirped, not looking up from her phone. "Just documenting some serious maintenance issues. The shutters are a shade off the approved HOA palette. And this mailbox," she waved a hand at the sturdy iron box Nathan's dad had forged decades ago. "It's an inch too wide. Unsightly." I took a deep breath, channeling the calm Nathan always preached. "Vivian, Nathan's serving our country right now. A general. And this house has been in our family for 4 generations. That mailbox has outlasted 2 wars. You're really out here measuring it." She finally glanced up, her green eyes cold. "Rules evolve, dear. Deployment's no excuse for neglecting standards. Did you know a modernized block could boost property values by 20%? She tapped her phone again, smug as ever. That was the first I'd heard of any modernization. My stomach twisted as I remembered how Nathan's neighbor, old Mr. Ellis, had lost his shed to Vivian's last upgrade scheme, replaced with a sterile HOA-approved bench no one used. I spent that afternoon digging through HOA emails, finding a vague mention of block revitalization buried in a newsletter. No details, just Vivian's name attached. Something was off. The next week, letters piled up at Nathan's place, certified, official, relentless. The shutters were faded beyond repair. The oak tree out front, planted by his grandfather, was suddenly a safety hazard. I tried emailing Nathan, but his mission had him off-grid. All I could do was watch Vivian's cronies drive by, snapping photos, their whispers carrying on the wind. I installed a camera after catching her husband, Greg, poking around the fence at dusk with a tape measure. Then came the twist I never saw coming. One night, I got a call from Lily, Nathan's daughter, who was away at college. "Matt, something's wrong," she said, her voice tight. "I found a letter in Dad's old desk. Vivian wrote it years ago, before he deployed. She begged him to sell the house to her husband's company. Said she'd make it worth his while." I bolted to Nathan's study, rifling through his files until I found it. A yellowed note, Vivian's looping handwriting promising a fresh start if he'd sign over the deed. Nathan had scribbled "no deal" on it and shoved it away. My hands shook as I pieced it together. This wasn't just about property values. Vivian had a grudge, and Nathan's refusal had festered into revenge. The next morning, I woke to engines growling. 3 bulldozers rolled down the street, their claws glinting in the fog. Vivian stood by Nathan's porch, iPad in hand, that fake smile plastered on. I ran out, still in slippers, clutching the letter. "Stop!" I yelled, waving it at her. "This is personal. You've been after his house for years." Her smile faltered just for a second. "Nonsense," she snapped, but her eyes darted to the paper. "This is about progress." I shoved the letter at a cop nearby, my voice rising. "Progress? Or payback?" The bulldozer paused, the driver glancing over. Vivian's face hardened, but I saw the crack. She hadn't expected me to dig up her past. Nathan wasn't here yet, but I had her motive in my hands, and Harmony Grove was about to see her mask slip. The fog clung to Harmony Grove like a damp blanket, muffling the growl of the bulldozers as they idled in front of Nathan's house. I stood there, barefoot in my slippers, the crumpled letter from Vivian trembling in my hand. Her designer workout clothes glowed in the gray light, That fake smile still plastered on her face, but her eyes betrayed her, sharp, flickering toward the paper like it was a live grenade. The cop I'd shoved it skimmed it, his brow furrowing, while the demolition crew chief scratched his head, glancing between us. "Vivian," I said, my voice cutting through the engine hum, "this isn't about shutters or trees. You've been gunning for Nathan's house since he told you no. What's it been, 5 years?" Her smile twitched, a crack in the mask. "That's absurd, Matt," she snapped, clutching her iPad tighter. "This is about community standards. That letter's irrelevant. Ancient history." "History?" I stepped closer, holding it up so the cop could see her signature. "You beg him to sell, and he wouldn't budge. Now he's overseas, and you're tearing it down? That's revenge, not rules." The cop coughed, handing the letter back. "Ma'am, we're here for a civil matter, but this looks personal. You got permits for this?" Vivian waved a hand, her blonde ponytail bouncing. "Of course. Everything's in order. The board voted last night. Emergency session. Structural hazards." She tapped her iPad, pulling up a grainy photo of Nathan's porch with a red circle around a cracked beam. "I'd fixed that myself last summer. It was fine." "Bull," I said, turning to the chief. "She's lying. That house is solid. I've got receipts for every repair. She's cashing Nathan's tax checks and calling them lost." The chief shifted, uneasy. "Look, I just follow orders. Permits check out." A horn blared, cutting him off. Lily's beat-up hatchback screeched to a stop at the curb, tires smoking. She jumped out, backpack slung over one shoulder, her dark hair a wild mess from the drive. "Matt," she yelled, running toward me, her sneakers slapping the wet pavement. "I got here as fast as I could. What's happening?" Vivian's eyes narrowed, but she kept that syrupy tone. "Oh, Lily, sweetie, this doesn't concern you. Go back to school." "Like hell it doesn't," Lily shot back, skidding to a stop beside me. She snatched the letter from my hand, scanning it fast. "You wrote this? You've been after Dad's house since I was in high school? What's wrong with you?" Vivian's jaw tightened, but she didn't flinch. "Your father made his choice. This block needs progress. His nostalgia's holding us back." Lily laughed, sharp and bitter. "Progress? You mean your husband's paycheck? I heard him bragging at the gas station. Greg's company gets the contract if this goes down, right?" The crowd, neighbors trickling out in robes and slippers, murmured. Old Mrs. Chun shuffled closer, her phone already recording. "That's right," she piped up, her voice thin but firm. "Greg's been promising big jobs for months. Said this street's the start." Vivian's smile vanished, replaced by a scowl. "That's speculation. This is legal. Move aside, or I'll call security." "No need," I said, pulling out my phone. I'd recorded Greg measuring the fence last week, his voice clear as day. "Once Nate's gone, it's ours." I hit play, letting it echo. The cop's head snapped up, and the chief stepped back, hands raised. Vivian lunged for the phone, but Lily blocked her, eyes blazing. "Back off," she hissed. "You don't get to touch us or this house." The bulldozer engines revved, impatient, but the chief waved them off. "Hold up, let's sort this." He turned to Vivian. "You got proof this vote was legit? 'Cause this ain't looking good." She froze, then stormed toward her car, muttering, "This isn't over." But as she peeled out, tires squealing, Lily grabbed my arm. "Matt, I found something else in Dad's desk, a photo. Vivian and Grandpa, together years ago. She's not just mad, she's family." I stared at her, the fog thickening around us. "What?" "She's our aunt," Lily whispered, her voice shaking. "And she hates him for it." The bulldozers idled, the crowd buzzed, and I felt the ground shift. Vivian wasn't just a greedy HOA shark. This was blood, betrayal, and a grudge decades deep. Nathan didn't know what he was walking into. The fog in Harmony Grove thickened as the bulldozers rumbled, their engines a low growl against the stunned silence of the crowd. Lily's words, "She's our aunt," hung in the air like smoke, and I could barely process it. Vivian Holt, the HOA tyrant who tried to erase Nathan's house, was family? My coffee was cold now, forgotten in my hand as I stared at Lily, her backpack slipping off her shoulder, her face pale but fierce. "Explain," I said, my voice rough. How's she our aunt? Lily pulled a creased photo from her pocket. Nathan's dad, young and grinning, arm around a teenage girl with Vivian's sharp green eyes. Found it with the letter, she whispered. Grandpa's sister. She ran off before Dad was born. Family fight over this house. Guess she never forgave him for keeping it. I rubbed my face, the pieces clicking. So this isn't just about money. It's a vendetta. She's been waiting decades to take it back. Before Lily could answer, tires screeched down the street. A black SUV rolled up, dust swirling, and out stepped Nathan, still in his dress uniform, the general's stars glinting on his shoulders. His boots hit the pavement with a thud, and the bulldozer chief froze mid-step. Vivian's car was still idling at the curb. She hadn't made it far, and her head snapped around, her blonde ponytail whipping like a flag. Nathan didn't rush. He walked past the crowd, Mrs. Chun still recording, neighbors whispering, his eyes locked on the bulldozers parked inches from his porch. He bent down, picking up a shard of the oak tree his granddad had planted, and tucked it into his pocket. Then he turned to me, his voice steady but edged. Matt, what's going on? I handed him the letter, then the photo. Vivian's tearing it down. Says it's progress, but it's personal. Lily found this. She's your aunt. His jaw tightened as he scanned the photo, recognition flickering in his eyes. Vivian Holt. Aunt Viv. I thought she was dead. Dad said she cut ties after a fight. Wanted the house sold. He wouldn't budge. He looked up at the bulldozers, then at Vivian, who was climbing out of her car, her face a mix of panic and defiance. Nice surprise, Nathan, she called, forcing that glass-cutting smile. Too bad you're late. The board's already voted. This dump's a hazard. Nathan didn't flinch. He pulled out his phone, hit a number, and waited. Bill, it's Nate. Yeah, I'm home, looking at bulldozers on my lawn. You got a minute? He paused, then handed me the phone. Senator Williams wants a word. I took it, stunned, as a deep voice crackled through. Matt, tell me everything, quick. I spilled it, Vivian's letter, the fake violations, Greg's contract, the family twist. Williams grunted. Stay put. I'm sending someone. Vivian marched over, her workout clothes damp with sweat. This is nonsense, family or not. The HOA rules stand. You're trespassing now, Nathan. He ignored her, turning to Lily. You okay, kiddo? She nodded, clutching the photo, her eyes darting between him and Vivian. Dad, she's been planning this forever, Lily said, her voice shaking but strong. She hates us, hates you, for keeping Grandpa's house. Vivian laughed, shrill and brittle. Hate? Oh, honey, it's not hate, it's justice. Your granddad cheated me out of my share. This house was mine too, and She stopped, catching herself, but the venom was out. Nathan stepped closer, his shadow falling over her. You ran off, Viv. Dad kept it for us, for family. You don't get to rewrite that now. Her eyes flashed, but before she could snap back, sirens wailed. 2 police cars pulled up, followed by a news van. Vivian's husband, Greg, stumbled out of her car, his face pale, clutching a briefcase. Viv, we gotta go. This is bad, he muttered, but an officer blocked him. Lily grabbed my arm, whispering, Matt, there's more. She's got a will, Grandpa's. I saw it in the desk. It names her, but he crossed it out. I stared at her, the fog swirling around us. She thinks she's owed this place, legally? The bulldozers idled, the crowd grew, and Nathan stood like a rock, his uniform a quiet threat. Vivian's revenge wasn't just personal. It was a claim she'd kill for. And we just lit the fuse. The sirens cut through the fog in Harmony Grove, sharp and insistent, as the police cars boxed in Vivian's Mercedes. Nathan stood by his ruined porch, the oak shard still in his pocket, his uniform crisp despite the chaos. The news van's crew spilled out, cameras rolling, while neighbors clustered closer, phones up, catching every second. Lily clutched the photo, her knuckles white, whispering to me, The will, Matt. It's in Dad's safe. She's got no claim, but she thinks she does. Vivian stormed forward, her blonde ponytail swinging, her workout clothes clinging to her frame. This is my land, she shouted, jabbing a finger at Nathan. Your granddad stole it from me. Crossed me out of his will like I was nothing. I've waited 30 years to fix that. Nathan's eyes narrowed, but his voice stayed low, lethal. You left, Viv. Ran off with some guy and never looked back. Dad kept this house for us, for family. That will's trash. She laughed, a jagged sound, pulling a folded paper from her purse. Trash. I've got a copy, his first draft. Names me co-owner. He changed it after I left, but I'll prove it's fraud. This demolition's legal. My right. I grabbed Lily's arm, my pulse racing. She's delusional. Forged it, maybe. Where's the safe? Garage, she said, darting toward the house. Come on. We slipped past the crowd. Mrs. Chun still filming, Greg fumbling with his briefcase, as Vivian waved her paper at the cops. See? It's mine. Arrest them for trespassing. The lead officer, a grizzled guy with a buzz cut, skimmed it and frowned. Looks old, handwritten. We'll need more than this, ma'am. Permits don't mean squat if it's fraud. Nathan stepped up, towering over her. You're digging your own grave, Viv. That house stayed in the family. Lily's got the real will. You're done. Vivian's face twisted, and she lunged at the nearest bulldozer, yelling at the chief. Start it. Now, before they twist this. The engine roared, the claw swinging toward the porch. I shouted, stop! But Lily was already back, a metal box in her hands, panting. Got it, she yelled, flipping it open. She pulled out a yellow document. Grandpa's will, signed and notarized, Vivian's name scratched out in thick ink. Here, 1975. You're out, Vivian. The crowd gasped, cameras zooming in. Vivian snatched at it, but Nathan blocked her, his arm like steel. Back off, he said, handing the will to the cop. Check the date. Official. She's got nothing. The officer nodded, flipping through. This one's legit, county stamp. Yours, ma'am. He glanced at Vivian's paper. Faded. No seal. Looks like a draft. You got a lawyer. Her eyes went wild, darting to Greg, who was edging toward the car. Greg, tell them. We got proof. He froze, then bolted, slamming into an officer who tackled him. The briefcase hit the ground, spilling blueprints, labeled Holt Estates, dated months ago. I laughed bitter. Estates? You weren't building a community center. You're flipping this for condos. Vivian spun on me, her voice a shriek. It's mine to flip. Your granddad owed me. He left me nothing while Nathan got it all. I've waited, planned, 30 years of nothing. And you think you can stop me? Nathan picked up a splintered porch plank, his face hard. You stopped yourself, Viv. Ran from family. Now you're running from the law. He turned to the cop. That's intent, fraud, theft. She cashed my tax checks too. Matt's got proof. I pulled up my phone, showing the cleared payments. The officer's radio crackled, backup arriving. Vivian's hand shook, her fake empire crumbling as Greg yelled. It was her idea from the ground. Lily stepped forward, holding the will high. This is Dad's house. Our house. You don't get to rewrite history because you're mad. Vivian lunged again, but the cop grabbed her arm. Enough, ma'am. You're coming with us. She screamed, kicking as they dragged her to the car, her ponytail a tangled mess. The bulldozer shut off, the chief muttering apologies, and the news crew swarmed Nathan. I leaned against the wrecked porch, catching my breath. She's nuts, family or not. Nathan nodded, his eyes on Lily. She's lost more than a house. The crowd cheered, but I saw his jaw clench. Vivian's betrayal cut deeper than the bulldozer ever could. The fog had burned off Harmony Grove by noon, leaving the wreckage of Nathan's porch stark under the sun. Vivian's screams faded as the police car peeled away, Greg cuffed in the back of another, his blueprints scattered like confetti across the lawn. The news crew swarmed Nathan. Mike's thrust forward, but he waved them off, his uniform dusty yet steady. Lily clutched the real will, her hands trembling, while I stood by the splintered oak stump, still reeling from the family bomb Vivian had dropped. Nathan bent down, picking up a cracked photo frame. Him and Lily on that porch, her gap-toothed grin beaming. She almost got it, he said, voice low, handing it to Lily. Almost took it all. Lily wiped her eyes, tucking the will into her backpack. She's your aunt, Dad. How could she hate us this much? He sighed, rubbing his neck. Viv ran when I was a kid, blamed Grandpa, for everything. Thought the house was her ticket out. When he kept it, she never forgave him, or us. The crowd thinned, neighbors drifting back to their lives, but Mrs. Chun stayed, her phone still out. I knew her back then, she said, shuffling over. Vivian was wild. Wanted fast money, fast cars. Your granddad tried to help, but she wouldn't take it. This, she nodded at the rubble. It's her, not you. I kicked a shard of wood, frustration boiling. She turned it into a war. Condos, fake wills, stealing your tax money. For what? Spite. Nathan's eyes darkened. Spite's a hell of a fuel, Matt. Burns everything down. A black sedan rolled up, Senator Williams, silver hair, catching the light, stepped out with a briefcase. Nathan, he called, striding over. Heard you had a fight on your hands. Brought some ammo. He handed over a folder. HOA bank records, flagged transactions. Your payments? Diverted to an offshore account. Holt's been skimming for years. Lily's jaw dropped. She stole from everyone? Williams nodded. Enough to bury her, and half the board. Feds are on it. He clapped Nathan's shoulder. You're a damn good general. Didn't need me. Nathan smirked, but it didn't reach his eyes. Needed family, he said, glancing at us. That's what held it. The bulldozers rolled out, the news vans followed, and quiet settled over Harmony Grove. But it wasn't over. That night, Lily and I sat on Nathan's steps, half gone, jagged, sorting through the safe's contents. She pulled out a letter, not Vivian's, but Grandpa's, written to Nathan before he died. Keep this house, it read, for the ones who stay. He knew she'd come back, Lily said, voice soft. Knew she'd try. I nodded, the weight sinking in. She didn't just want the land. She wanted to erase him. Us. Nathan joined us, a beer in each hand, passing them over. She almost did. He took a swig, staring at the oak stump. But she's gone now, jail's waiting. It wasn't that simple, though. Weeks later, Vivian's trial hit the news. Fraud, theft, forgery. Greg flipped on her, spilling decades of schemes targeting veteran homes. The HOA dissolved, fined into oblivion, but the house stayed broken. Nathan didn't rebuild right away. Need time, he told me, hammering a tarp over the roof. Figure out what's worth keeping. Lily took it harder. She salvaged what she could, photo albums, the mailbox. Her hand steady, but her eyes wet. She was family, Matt. How do you hate family? I didn't have an answer. Mrs. Chun did, though, dropping off a pie one evening. Vivian chose greed over blood. You chose different. The condo plan died with Vivian's arrest, the lot left empty, a scar on the block. Nathan got calls from vets across the state, stories like ours, and he started sketching something bigger, a network, not a courtroom win. She lit a fire, he said, taping maps to his wall. We'll use it. One night, Lily hung Grandpa's letter by the door, next to Nathan's medals. She lost, she said, not triumphant, just tired. I nodded, cracking a beer. Vivian's spite had torn us up, but it didn't win, not fully. The house stood, battered but ours, a quiet defiance in Harmony Grove's perfect lawns. And that was enough. So there it is, folks. Vivian's grudge tore up Nathan's house, but it couldn't break us. Harmony Grove's quiet again, not because we won big, but because we held on. Spite can bulldoze a lot, but family, real family, stands tougher than any HOA rulebook. Nathan's out there now, helping other vets fight the same battles, proving some scars build something stronger. Thanks for writing this crazy story with me. It's raw, messy, and hits close to home. If it got you, hit that like button. It keeps me going. Drop a comment. Ever faced a Vivian in your life? Or stood up for what's yours? I read every one, promise. Subscribe for more. Next time, we're digging into another backyard war. See you soon.